Good evening and a warm welcome to Blaze News Points, 45 minutes presentation of well-packaged information from Liberia, Africa, and the rest of our one world. Today is June 2nd, 2026, and I'm Anel Tyler on top today's presentation. First, the big stories. Political leader of the Alternative National Congress, Alexander Cummings, criticizes the Unity Party-led government, says the living condition of Liberians have not improved over the years. Foreign Minister that's former Foreign Minister D. Maxwell Kimia terms as false and misleading allegations that former President George Weah withdrew his support behind Alternative National Congress political leader Alexander Cummings. Liberia Senate summons Minister of Mines Martino K. Tengbe and Environmental Protection Agency Executive Director Emmanuel Yapawolo to provide explanation on measures being taken to address illegal mining and environmental degradation across Liberia. And away from home, at least 22 people, including 2 children, killed and more than 100 others injured after Russia launched one of its largest missiles and drone attacks against Ukraine in recent months. These and many more, including the voices of newsmakers, the news bulletin, and the passion of live sports, are all packaged on tonight's presentation of Blaze News Points. But first, we cross over to Mensa Mendy to bring us the bulletin of news. Good evening, Mensa.
Good evening, and your title. Good evening, everyone. Political leader of the Alternative National Congress, Alexander Cummings, has criticized the performance of the Unity Party-led government, claiming that the living conditions of ordinary Liberians have not improved over the past years. Speaking on Sky FM, Cummings said farmers, teachers, motorcyclists, and other citizens continue to struggle economically, adding that the benefits of Liberia's resources are not reaching the majority of the population. He criticized the Unity Party-led government for what he described as slow progress in addressing key national challenges, including unreliable electricity. According to him, stable power is critical to economic growth, manufacturing, technology, and job creation. Cummings maintained that many Liberians are not better off today than they were when the current administration took office, and called on the government to deliver tangible improvements in the lives of ordinary citizens. At the same time, the Alternative National Congress political leader, Alexander Cummings, says the ANC remains open to political collaboration with other parties ahead of future elections. He noted that while the ANC welcomes alliances, any future collaboration must be based on a shared vision and clear plans for national development. Former Foreign Minister D. Maxwell Sakimiyan has termed as false and misleading allegations that former President George Weah withdrew his support beyond ANC political leader Alexander Cummings. Speaking Tuesday in an interview with Morovia, Ambassador Kimiyad, who is also the senior advisor to former President George Weah, revealed that the information circulating on social media alleging that the CDC political leader would not contest the 2029 presidential elections is inaccurate. He emphasized that former President George Weah will contest as a presidential candidate during the next general election in the country, and expressed confidence that the CDC will take power from the Unity Party during the 2029 elections. Kimi had further stated that though the president has some cordial relationships with the ANC political leader Alexander Cummings, there has been no discussion regarding the former president pledging support to the ANC. Kimayad also revealed that former President George Weah will continue to hold consultations and discussions with members of the opposition as a means of ensuring a united opposition movement for successful election victories in upcoming elections. The Liberian Senate has summoned Minister of Mines and Energy Makindote Tingba and Environmental Protection Agency, the Executive Director, Dadwe Emmanuel Yakpa to appear before its Committee on Mines and Energy to provide a detailed briefing on measures being taken to address illegal mining and environmental degradation across the country. The decision was reached during the Senate sitting On Tuesday, June 2, following the communication submitted by Barbados County Senator Amara Conan, who raised concern over the growing waves of illicit mining activities and their environmental consequences. In his communication and subsequent remarks before plenary, Senator Conan alleged that illegal and unsafe mining operations are increasing in several parts of Liberia, including Barbados County, where he said miners are using dangerous metals that threaten both lives and the environment. Conan pointed to mining activities in Gawula District, Barbados County, where he displayed photographs showing dragging operations and underground mining in an area without motor-abled roads. The senator further alleged that the mining lesson connected to the operation is owned by Chinese nationals and referenced recent fired engagement by the Ministry of Mines and Energy in Henry Town, Bombing County. The Supreme Court of Liberia has rejected an attempt to dismiss the National Elections Commission appealed in a U.S. $877,060 debt dispute with M-Torch Prince Media Incorporated, paving the way for a full hearing into the controversial claim. The ruling delivered by Associate Justice James Eto Wodokori determined that NEC properly followed all legal procedures required to perfect its appeal after a commercial court adjournment was entered against the commission. The legal battle stemmed from a lawsuit filed by M-Touch Print Media, which alleged that it supplied election materials and additional election kits used during the 2019 Moscow County senatorial election and District 13 by-election and was not fully paid by NEC. M-Touch sought to have NEC appeal dismissed, arguing that the commission failed to meet legal requirements governing the appeals process. However, the Supreme Court disagreed. Justice Wodokori noted that while the commercial court entered judgment on December 31, 2025, NEC did not receive a copy of the ruling until January 6, 2026. The court held that NEC subsequently filed its bill of exception within the 10-day statutory period and completed all other appeal requirements within the time frame established by law. The opinion does not determine whether NEC is responsible for the debt claimed by M-Talks Prince Media. Instead, the ruling preserves the NEC right to challenge the lower court judgment in the matter. The National Student Command of Liberia has condemned the skyrocketing in graduation fees of some private universities and has condemned the silence of the Ministry of Education on the matter. Speaking to journalists on Monday, June 1 in Monrovia, the Commander-in-Chief of the National Student Command of Liberia, Jesse Window, has described the increment in graduation fee of the Seventh-day Adventist University and the African American Episcopal University, among others, as an evil act towards several young people striving to acquire higher education. The group revealed that the $700 requested as graduation fees by the Seventh-day Adventist University is exorbitant and is intended to push graduating seniors against hardship and poverty. Jesse Window expressed frustration and frown at all of the faith-based institutions who have decided to increase graduation fees for several students expected to graduate and go into the job market. Window also urged various universities that are increasing their graduation fees to revisit their plan and bring relief to struggling students, and accused the Ministry of Education of being a toothless bulldog that has failed to regulate educational institutions across the country. Information Minister Jeremy Pierre has dismissed as false and misleading a viral photo circulating on social media that allegedly shows officers of the police support unit carrying firearms at a school while students were writing the West African Senior School Certificate Examination was. Speaking to journalists at the Charles Brown Press Hall in Monrovia Tuesday, Minister Pierre said the video has been taken out of context and does not accurately represent the situation being portrayed online, noting that it is an AI-generated photos. The Information Minister urged members of the public to avoid spreading unverified information that will create unnecessary fear and panic among students, parents, and the general public. Minister Pia reaffirmed the government's commitment to maintaining peace and security along its border with Guinea, stating that both nations have agreed to resolve all outstanding boundary disputes through dialogue and diplomatic cooperation. He added that the agreement was reached among the presidents of Liberia, Guinea, and Sierra Leone during a recent regional summit hosted in Ivory Coast. A group of aggrieved members of the National Union of Organization of the Disabled has issued a 12-count resolution impeaching the organization president, Peter Flomod, with immediate effect. NOAC serves as the umbrella body representing organizations of persons with disabilities across Liberia. According to the resolution, the aggrieved members accuse Flomod of dissolving member organizations of NOAC, disregarding the union's bylaws and constitution, and allegedly requesting kickbacks. The memos contain that this action undermines the integrity and democratic principles of the organization. Presenting the statement on behalf of the group, Secretary Lawson Flomo said the decision was taken in accordance with the Constitution of NOAC and was intended to restore stability, accountability, and proper governance within the institution. Receiving the resolution on behalf of the aggrieved members, Vice President for the Administration Melvin Harding accepted the document and assured the group that the leadership will carefully review the allegations and provide a response within 7 days. Harding further called on all members to remain peaceful and law-abiding while the leadership examines the issue raised and seeks an appropriate resolution to the matter. The Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency says it is intensifying its nationwide crackdown on illicit drugs and organizing trafficking networks, reporting significant arrest, seizure, and financial disruption during the first quarter of 2026. Speaking at a press briefing on Tuesday, June 2, at the LDA headquarters in Fiaman, the officer in charge, Gerard Biago, said the agency's recent operations reflect strengthening enforcement measures with President Joseph Boakar's directive, which classifies drug abuse as both a national security and health as public health emergency. Biago noted that the agency has expanded its operation reach across the country while also advancing internal reforms aimed at improving accountability and professionalism within the institution. According to the report, 233 suspects were arrested between January and March 2026 in connection with drug trafficking and illicit substance distribution. Of those arrested, 193 were male, representing 83%, while 40 were female, amounting to 17%. The LDA further revealed that the suspects include 195 Liberians, 17 Nigerians, 12 Sierra Leoneans, and 9 Guineans, all of whom have been investigated and forwarded to court for prosecution in line with Liberian law. He stressed that the agency remains committed to maintaining integrity within its ranks, adding that officers accused of misconduct or evidence tampering are currently under investigation as part of a strict zero-tolerance stance on corruption and abuse of authority. And away from Liberia, at least 22 people, including 2 children, were killed and more than 100 others injured after Russia launched one of its largest missiles and joined attacks against Ukraine in recent months, Ukrainian officials said. The overnight assault struck several regions across the country, targeting civilian infrastructure and energy facilities, according to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. The eastern city of Andriupol suffered the heaviest casualties, when regional authorities confirmed 16 deaths, including an 80-year-old boy and 3 women whose bodies were recovered from the ruin of damaged apartment and buildings. In the capital, Kiev, 6 additional deaths were reported. Well, Anil, that's the news bulletin. Is done back to you for the continuation of Blaze News Point.
Mensa Mendy and the News Bulletin, a regular feature here on Blaze News Point. To continue this presentation of news, a reminder of top developments we're following. Political leader of the Alternative National Congress, Alexander Kumis, criticizes the Unity Party-led government, says the living condition of Liberians have not improved over the years. Former Foreign Minister D. Maxwell Kimia terms as false and misleading allegations that former President George Weah would throw his support behind Alternative National Congress political leader Alexander Cummings. Liberian Senate summons Minister of Mines Matinoke Tengbe and Environmental Protection Agency Executive Director Dr. Emmanuel Yapawodo to provide explanation on measures being taken to address the illegal mining and environmental degradation across Liberia. And away from Liberia, at least 22 people, including 2 children, killed and more than 100 others injured after Russia launched one of its largest missiles and drone attack against Ukraine in recent months. We take a very short break to be back with Voices of Newsmakers. Welcome back after that break, and let's go for the first development. Political leader of the Alternative National Congress, Alexander Cummings, has criticized the performance of the Unity Party-led government, claiming that the living conditions of the ordinary Liberians have not improved over the years. Speaking on Sky FM, Cummings said farmers, teachers, motorcyclists, and other citizens continue to struggle economically, adding that the benefits of Liberia's resources are not really of the population. He criticized the Unity Party-led government for what he described as slow progress in addressing key national challenges, including unreliable electricity. According to him, stable power is critical to economic growth, manufacturing, technology, and job creation.
Liberian farmers, teachers, haircut workers, motorcyclists, over the last 10 years, their lives have effectively not changed. Nothing has changed, right? And it's sad, it's unfortunate, because this country, and I think as we go, this country has a lot of resources. And it's about getting our fair share from those resources to max, and then how we spend the money so that it impacts, again, ordinary, common Liberians, not just a few at the top. So I think the government has a lot of challenges, right? And I think if the country were to grade the UP government on these issues I just talked about, I think they would get a failing grade. Yeah, I think people who are saying that I must be UP partisans and they're benefiting from the country the way it is. And there are a few thousand people across the country that the current system, benefits them. But again, if we ask the ordinary, the average, the common Liberian, is your life better off today than it was 2.5 years ago? The answer will be no. I'm pretty confident. Liberia at our house, blows up, lights up and down, up and down, up and down. So where's the improvement? And with all electricity, you can't develop any country.
At the same time, the Alternative National Congress political leader Alexander Cummings said the ANC remains open to political collaboration with other parties ahead of future election. He noted that while the ANC welcome alliances, any future collaboration must be based on shared vision and clear plans for national development.
We have always been open to collaboration and alignment. And in fact, naive, some would say, in the way we did it with the CPP, when the people who were collaborating with, lied on me, took me to court, lied on the oath. So we will collaborate differently. We learn from our mistakes, right? But we're open to collaboration. It's early. It's still 3.5 years to go.
You collaborate?
There are other political parties, in the country we will talk to.
They are helping their political parties.
There are other political parties in the country, including the 2 big parties, CDC and Unity Party, and we're open to collaboration with everybody, right? The key for me, there are several keys. One is we have to be clear on what we want to achieve for the country. We're not just going to collaborate just to take state power, just to one set of people come and other people leave. I'm so clear that if we're going to go into collaboration, we will spend a lot of time agreeing what we want to do for the country. What is quote unquote the agenda? We'll not wait till we get office. It will not be based on usual. We got to be clear on that, because that provides the basis for the collaboration in terms of how you will work together in government, who will do what, who will take what position. It has to be in the context of what you're trying to achieve, and it's got to be what we want to achieve for the ordinary.
That's Alexander Cummings, the political leader of the National Alternative Congress there speaking on national issues. And to this development, former Foreign Minister D. Maxwell Kimeya has termed as false and misleading allegations that former President George Weah would throw his support behind the ANC political leader Alexander Cummings. Speaking Tuesday in an interview in Monrovia, Ambassador Kimeya, who is also the senior advisor to former President George Weah, revealed that the information circulating on social media alleging that the CDC political leader would not contest in 2029 presidential elections is inaccurate. He emphasized that former President George Weah will contest as a presidential candidate during the next general elections in the country and expressed confidence that the CDC will take power from the Unity Party.
It's more than serious, and it's not fun at all because it has to do with lives. It has to do with the Liberian people. But hearing something that is not conceivable, something that is not practical, this is something far-fetched. This is something that is not possible. This is something that will not come to reality. Just this afternoon, when His Excellency President Dr. Weah called me in our usual chat, and we were talking and not knowing that someone will call to talk on this. And he said, and he used a phrase, and with respect to a saying that the Liberian people will reject lies and embrace the truth. That lie is for anyone to think that His Excellency President Dr. George Manneh Weah, the 25th President of the Republic of Liberia, and the incoming 27th President of the Republic of Liberia will yield his desire for the presidency to contest the presidency in 2029, that he will surrender that desire, that he will yield that desire to anyone on planet Earth. That is inconceivable. That is not practical. That thought in itself is diabolical, is wickedness to the Liberian people. And when I say it's wickedness to the Liberian people, because it is at a time that the Liberians are highly anticipating, expecting a leader to redeem our country and the Liberian people.
Kimeya also revealed that former President George Weah will continue to hold consultation and discussions with members of the opposition as a means of ensuring a united opposition movement for a successful election victories in the coming elections.
The only thing I want to say is that we remain, His Excellency President Dr. Weah shall continue to do consultation, hold discussions with members of the opposition bloc. He shall continue to rally them to explore the possibility of ensuring a united bloc within the opposition, because our focus is to ensure that President Joseph Newman Boakai Sr. becomes a one-term president of the Republic of Liberia. That's the tax that His Excellency President Dr. Weah and the rest of those in the opposition, in the general opposition bloc, hold, and continuing to do as it is. So that focus remains, and we will not adhere or fall for any distraction, as what you just indicated to us that is being wrongly spewed out there, that he has surrendered his presidential ambition.
That's the voice of former Foreign Minister D. Maxwell Kimeya there speaking. And now today's development. The Liberian Senate has summoned Minister of Mines and Energy Matunuke Tembe and Environmental Protection Agency Executive Director Emmanuel Yapawolo to appear before its Committee on Mines and Energy to provide a detailed briefing on measures being taken to address illegal mining and environmental degradation across the country. The decision was reached during the Senate sitting on Tuesday, June 2nd, following a communication submitted by Gbapolu County Senator Amara Kone, who raised concerns over the growing waves of illicit mining activities and their environmental consequences. In his communication and subsequent remarks before plenary, Senator Kone alleged that illegal and unsafe mining operations are increasing in several parts of Liberia, including Gbapolu County, where he is where he said miners are using dangerous methods to threaten both lives and the environment.
First, I'm going to raise this. I didn't have a chance to put it on board. These are pictures of mining activities in Seoul, Paplu County, in Gangwon district. That district has no motor road, but somehow they were able to get all these dredges on the river to the mining location. The danger that we observed there after I sent the team there is that they are actually mining on the ground with no protection for people that go on there. And the rain is falling, the soil is getting softer. This could lead to death. My understanding is that the license for that activity is owned by Chinese. The Minister of Mines, who then engaging them, went to Henrytown in Bapuru County last week. It was all on social media, his interaction with the people. He discovered hundreds of Burkinabés there. He also discovered the same dredging activities for people who have licenses that do not allow them to use heavy equipment to mine. What this is doing, Protem and colleagues, is polluting our waterways. For example, the river you cross before you enter Mapbrook town is as white as milk because of the mining activities upstream. So I am begging you and my colleagues to really take this matter seriously. This is not just unique to our country. The minister was also in Riverset. He was also somewhere in Lower Nimba and so on. We saw the same thing happening. So thank you so much for the opportunity, and I look forward to the community.
As you may have heard in the news, the House of Representatives on Tuesday failed to hold its regular sitting after lawmakers were unable to meet the constitutional requirement for a quorum. The development prompted Speaker Coon absentee lawmakers. Our legislative reporter Archie Sebob-Yene has more on these developments in our reports.
Legislative business at the capital came to a halt Tuesday after only 15 members of the House of Representatives appeared for the day's regular session, with attendees falling far below the number required to conduct official business. Speaker Rachel Coon was forced to rejoin the sitting. Expressing concern over what he described as a persistent absence of lawmakers, the Speaker warned that continuing failure to attend session could result to salary deduction for members who are absent without justification.
There's a caution. I just want to let them know that if they continue this path, we'll start going to the salary deduction for some reason if we're not being able to do that painful job on time. Or we want to make sure our members always be in attendance. And we noticed that most of them try to come to session. Since 10 o'clock this morning, we've been sitting with core room up to present. Since 2 hours, we only got 15 members in attendance. So we want to send a message to leadership. Leadership will take the precise measure on those members.
Under Article 33 of the Liberian Constitution, a simple majority of members constitute a quorum for the transaction of business. In a House comprising 73 members, at least 37 lawmakers are required to conduct official proceedings. The Constitution further provides that when a quorum is not met, the House may adjourn and take steps to compel the attendance of absent members. But the Speaker's warning has drawn opposition from Maso-Rado County District Number 14 Representative Moka Kamara. Representative Kamara argued that the Speaker does not possess the unilateral authority to deduct salaries of elected lawmakers, maintaining that any action affecting members' compensation must be carried out in accordance with established House rules and procedures.
Well, he does not have that absolute authority to... No, I will not support anything of such. The fact that is that one thing I know, there was a group of people who elected their lawmakers to come here, and they were electing them on the basis of what they needed to do. So for me to support it, it means plenary has endorsed it.
It remains unclear whether the House leadership will pursue additional disciplinary measures against absentee lawmakers. The House is expected to reconvene at the next scheduled sitting amid growing calls for members to fulfill their legislative duties. Reporting from the capital, I am Archie Yene.
That's the voice of our legislative reporter Achise Bob Yenever taking us strictly to the time where we recap to join our sports department to bring us the passion of live sports. Political leader of the Alternative National Congress, Alexander Cummings, criticizes the Unity Party-led government, says the living condition of Liberians have not improved over the years. Former Foreign Minister D. Maxwell Kimia terms as false and misleading allegation that former President George Weah would throw his support toward Alexander, that's the Alternative National Congress political leader Alexander Cummings. Liberian Senate summons Minister of Mines Martino Kier Tengbe and Environmental Protection Agency Executive Director Dr. Emmanuel Yapawolu to provide explanation on measures being taken to address illegal mining and environmental degradation across Liberia. And away from home, at least 22 people, including 2 children, killed and more than 100 others injured after Russia launched one of its largest missiles and drone attack against Ukraine in recent months. We now join our sports department to join Luke to bring us the passion of live sports. Good evening, Luke.
Yeah, good evening, Anel. Adolfo Blay of Painsville FC has officially completed a permanent transfer to B Mountain FC, signing a 4-year contract with the Gold Boys. The young winger enjoyed a sensational 2025-2026 campaign, playing a crucial role in helping Painsville FC to qualify for the 2026 Betamax Cup. Following his impressive performances, B Mountain FC has secured his signature for $1.8 million Liberian dollars on a long-term deal as they continue to strengthen their squad ahead of the 2026-2027 season. Liberia international winger Daniel Newman has earned national team card on his new boss Mohamed Iridi. The Costa d'Ivoire player of the Mozambique First League has received a national team call as an overseas-based player, an encouraging milestone for the Mozambique-based Liberian winger Daniel Newman, who has been named in Liberia 24-man squad by head coach Mohamed for the upcoming international friendlies against Sierra Leone. Newman previously represented Liberia while playing for local team in Liberia, Watanka FC, before continuing his footballing career abroad. Sun Sport Prudence had described Newman's inclusion in the squad as a testimony for his dedication, consistency, growth since taking his career overseas. The young winger now has another opportunity to showcase his talent on the international stage and prove his value to Liberia and the Liberians in and around Liberia. His inclusion has also highlighted the coaching staff willingness to recognize Liberian playing excellent well outside the country. Lastly, the Liberians Upper League feature between Shatta FC and Determined Girls, originally scheduled for tomorrow, June 3rd, has been postponed until a later date due to an ongoing investigation. The announcement was made via Determined Girls' official Facebook page on Tuesday, June 2, 2026. According to a report, a new date for the match will be communicated once the matter has been concluded and all necessary procedures have been completed. Fans will remain eager as they wait a final decision as the two teams battle for silver warriors at the end of the season. Determined Girls are currently topping the league table with 57 points, while Shatta Angel sits on second spot with 56 points with goal advantage. A win for Shatta will secure the Giant Size Trophy, while a draw for Determined Girls will give them the right to represent Liberia in the CAF Women Champions League. It's over to you, Anel.
That's Luke Joel and the passion of live sports. And now let's go back to more developments. The National Student Command of Liberia has condemned the skyrocketing in graduation fees of some private universities and has condemned the silence of the Ministry of Education on the matter. Speaking with journalists on Monday, June 1, in Monrovia, the Commander-in-Chief of the National Student Command of Liberia, Jesse Winder, has described the increments in graduation fees of the Seventh-day Adventist University and the African American Episcopal University amongst others as an evil act towards several young people striving to acquire higher education. The group revealed that the $700 United States requested as graduation fees by the seven-day Adventist University is exorbitant and is intended to push graduating senior students to hardship and poverty.
So first of all, I should be able to state this categorically and let it be on record that we from the National Student Committee of the Bureau condemn the fact that these individuals from the universities do not see the suffering of the young people. These people do not see that there is no favorable condition that favors the young people in Liberia to come to this stage of our life and charge $700 US or charge $750 United States dollar. This is not being reported. This is a fact because I didn't just come to this platform to speak. I have done my background investigation. I don't just raise issues. I don't just speak to issues. I don't just raise concern on issues like the normal politicians do. I do not believe in propaganda. Getting facts to issue before I speak. But let me state this. There's not sometimes we get issue with the people who claim to be religious people. You can sit here, you have religious school, and you cannot have common thinking to say, yes, indeed, you have to work in the interest of the young people and that of the common masses of our country. You can sit, you call yourself pastors or people of faith-based institutions and charge exactly $700 plus United States for graduation fee. So first of all, over the time, through historical statistics of significance, we have had records in our possession to show that almost all of the astronomical fees that are being charged have always come from the faith-based institutions, like the AMEU, like the SDA, and 7 Days Advantage, like the Catholic institutions and the rest of them.
Winder also urged various universities that are increasing their graduation fees to revisit their plans and bring relief to struggling students. Jesse accused the Ministry of Education of being a toothless bulldog that has failed to regulate educational institutions across the country.
The first thing I think they have to do is to go by in a closet if they were, bringing a prank up to the students. That should be the bigger problem in the 21st century. Sometimes what happens is that to these institutions and these people, they can try to prank the public to see the reaction. And this is what we are saying to all the young courageous people that are raising the issue and condemning the AMBU, the 7 Days Advantage, and the rest of other institutions. We are saying kudos to you. That is the spirit of Africanness that is in you. That is the spirit of a Bantu that raising up to speak to the equation. And we are saying, let AMBU and the 7 Days Advantage go back with the prank. Prank has not been accepted by us. So we are saying to them clearly that we will not accept that. And if that happens, it means they should get out to contend with. The Ministry of Education is a toothless bulldog. If the ministry is serious, in fact, the entire government in terms of education, then they are not serious. I look at them putting education in the RS agenda. I think Baka and entire Kabas are serious about education in this country.
Now to this development, Information Minister Jarek Limek-Pia has dismissed as false and misleading a viral photo circulating on social media that allegedly shows officers of the police unit, that is police support unit, carrying firearm at the school while students were writing the West African Senior School Certificate Examination. Speaking with journalists at the Charles Bayon Press Hall in Monrovia on Tuesday, Minister Pia said the video has been taken out of context and does not accurately represent the situation being portrayed online, noting that it is an AI-generated photo. The Information Minister urged members of the public to avoid spreading unverified information that could create unnecessary fear and panic among students, parents, and the general public.
The full support of the citizens in just being nationalistic and patriotic about your country. There are issues everywhere in the world, in the United States, the UK, everywhere. The folks you see just entering there from Scarlet, where Garcia was, so you come. That's where they're from. I'm sure they got issues in their own country. But you see, you can't be the ones to play blind cards to the positivity of your country. And all you wish to do is to disseminate imagined, real, or other forms of negativity. Just imagine students are sitting there watching the exam, and somebody wanting to portray that the students are not doing the exam in a free environment, that they're being guarded by armed security persons, will generate an AI feature, spread it like a wildfire, and say the exam centers are being occupied by armed guys. How does it benefit you by doing those things? Some of you yen so much to go to other people's country. You see things happening that don't happen here. I live in other parts of the country. Where you go in the supermarket to buy something, sometimes with young kids. And by the time you come to yourself, somebody just jumped into that place and they're shooting guns all over the place. Or you see young kids in school trying to learn something and somebody just jumped in there. All those different things don't lead those people to demonizing their countries. It is us who will look for the slightest thing. We can disrespect professionals. I read a newspaper headline yesterday that said, what are the health authorities hiding? If someone has the mindset, and you have Ebola here, and that those who are trained, who went to school, whose profession it is to ensure the safety of all of us, that they are aware that Ebola is here, they have it to what end. They don't tell you that it's here and guide you into the preventing activities. What are they doing? Their work? Or they're going to be plunging the country into chaos?
Minister Pia, at the same time, reaffirmed the government's commitment to maintaining peace and security along its border with Guinea, stating that both nations have agreed to resolve all outstanding border disputes through dialogue and diplomatic cooperation. He added that the agreement was reached amongst the presidents of Liberia, Guinea, and Sierra Leone during a recent regional summit hosted in Cote d'Ivoire.
At the recent Africa Forward Summit in Nairobi, President Joseph Numa Boakai Sr. held discussions with President Alassane Ouattara of Cote d'Ivoire and President Mahamadou Doumbouya of Guinea on the border crisis and the urgent need to resolve it as soon as possible. These engagements underscored the shared recognition among regional leaders that the dispute must be settled through coordinated diplomacy and regional solidarity. Liberia welcomes all constructive efforts that support a peaceful and lasting solution of security concerns. The government of Liberia is also closely monitoring the emerging health threat posed by the Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo and Uganda, and has engaged health authorities in the country's preparedness and mitigation measures. Recent international updates indicate heightened regional risk, with the World Health Organization and other partners urging countries to strengthen preparedness, surveillance, infection prevention, and rapid response systems. Liberia is therefore reinforcing its public health vigilance, border screening readiness, and coordination among health institutions to prevent any importation of the virus.
That's the voice of Liberia's Information Minister, Jeremy Pia, there speaking. Into this last development, a group of aggrieved members of the National Union of Organization of the Disabled has issued a 12-count resolution impeaching the organization's president, Peter Flomo, with immediate effect. NUOD serves as the umbrella body representing organizations of people with disabilities across Liberia. According to the resolution, the aggrieved members accused Flomo of dissolving member organization of NUDO, disregarding the union's bylaws and constitutions, and allegedly requesting kickbacks. The members countered that these actions undermine the integrity and democratic principles of the organization.
For the following reasons hereby mentioned. Former President Flomo was elected on the 27th day of April 2023 in line with our constitutional mandate. However, due to ethical transgression, gross corruption, incompetence, and usurpation of powers, amongst many other reasons provided in here, validating this impeachment. Below are the following counts. Count number 1. Failure to delegate secure projects to organizations of persons with disability, OPWDs, for implementation. Whereas the former president with criminal intent willfully, willingly, intentionally, deliberately ignore Article 3 of the newest Constitution, which says the union shall not be an implementing body, but a forum of exchange of knowledge, networking, capacity building, and information gathering, dissemination, and utilization. Count 2. Secure fundings from local and international organizations for project implementation by OPWDs. Always asking for kickback from OPWDs.
Receiving the resolution on behalf of the aggrieved members, Vice President for Administration Jay accepted the document and assured the group that the leadership would carefully review the allegations and provide a response within 7 days. Harding further called on all members to remain peaceful and law-abiding while the leadership examines the issue raised and seeks an appropriate resolution to the members.
I have come to receive the petitions on behalf of the leadership. Because all of you that have gathered here this afternoon belongs to us.
Yes, exactly.
And if you have a dream, it is our right that we must come to listen. Now that we have come to receive the petition, I will also say thank you for at least coming in a peaceful manner, and we will be able to look into this matter in a shorter possible time. And we will speak to you through your leadership. As we have received these petitions, we advise that you please be calm and be peaceful just as you have been, and you will hear from us as soon as possible.
Voices of disabled people there taking us home on tonight's edition of Blaze News Point. But just before we leave you, let's recap the big stories. Political leader of the Alternative National Congress, Alexander Cummings, criticizes the Unity Party-led government, said the living condition of Liberians have not improved over the years. Former Foreign Minister D. Maxwell Kimia terms as false and misleading allegations that the former President George Weah will throw his support behind Alternative National Congress political leader Alexander Cummings. Liberian Senate summons Ministers of Mines Atonike Tengbe and Environmental Protection Agency Executive Director Dr. Emmanuel Yakpawola to provide explanation on measures being taken to address illegal mining and environmental degradation across the country. And away from Liberia, at least 22 people, including 2 children, were killed and more than 100 other injured after Russia launched one of its largest missiles and drone attack against Ukraine in recent months. Those were big stories we followed on tonight's edition of Blaze News Point. Many thanks to you for your listening role. Thanks to our writers, editors, and reporters for making today's presentation of Blaze News Point a success. Mensa Mendy was here with the news bulletin. Luke Joe factored in the passion of live sports. Henry Kaba sat at control and ably coordinated the sound of this presentation. For and on behalf of the team, I'm Anel Tyler, bidding you a pleasant good evening from Pinsville.